So my name is Marco Padilla. I'm running for my candidate for state representative, position 2 in District 26. I am the only candidate that prefers people over party. I have no specific party agenda, no specific party that I belong to. So the reason I'm running is basically as a Navy veteran, who swore to protect the American people at all costs. I know that it is my duty at this moment to stand up to the divisive politics, the divisive rhetoric that has a stronghold in our communities. And that is basically the reason that I'm running. I was born in Mexico. I grew up in Texas. At the age of 10, I became undocumented. My parents overstayed their visa, so no fault of my own because of the system in place. We had to wait 13 years. Anyway, so I grew up, became a young adult at the age of 22. I had the opportunity to marry my wife, and before that joined the Navy. So I did 8 years in the Navy, traveled all over, combat zones. During multiple deployments and operations, I was able to complete a bachelor's and master's degree. Got out, came over here to the Pacific Northwest. I'm currently enrolled in Seattle University, completing a doctoral in education and leadership, focusing on public leadership. So why do I say that as my background? I want to make sure that the people here in the Kitsap Peninsula know that my unique background represents the uniqueness and the beauty that we have here in the Kitsap Peninsula. And this is why I know I could do my job, and this is why I know I could represent the people here effectively in Olympia.
Tell us maybe a little bit more about your party affiliation, or not affiliation. Why do you choose to, is anyone else using that label? Or is that something you just kind of created as to?
Yeah, I filed officially, prefers people over party, because it's true. I have no intentions to go in there and implement a specific party agenda. This is where representation and politicians get lost. They claim that they're going to represent the people, yet they get there, and well, we know what happens. You have to follow the party bosses in this case, or a party agenda, and if you don't, well, you get replaced in 2 years or 4 years. So in this case, my focus is on bringing power to the people and representing truly the people, be beholden to the people and the people only. If you want to elect me and put me there, then great, I'll do my job, and if you think I don't belong there, then you can take me out. I have no intentions of being a career politician. I just want to get in there and implement what my vision is right now, my approach to, through civility and unity, work on solutions that are going to benefit our community. I'm looking for an opportunity, that's it.
If elected, if you're done at Olympia, you would be forced to make a choice, similar to Tim Sheldon, in the 35th District, who ran as a Democrat, but he chooses to caucus with Republicans. If you were asked to make a choice who you would caucus with, what party would you choose?
No, he chose. That's his personal choice. I don't have to caucus with any party, and I won't. That is going to give us leverage. That is going to give us more power. My vote is going to have more power, and that way I can truly be, like I said earlier, beholden to the people, what the people want here in the community and what the people need. And that is going to provide us opportunities to work with with either Democrats or Republicans in this case. I don't have to reach across the aisle. I'm in the middle. I could work with both people.
What issues, this kind of independent stance that you're trying to take, what issues do you think it's most important on? How would you use that leverage that you're talking about?
Okay. Yeah, you're absolutely right. So, funding education, for example, veteran initiatives is it's very dear to my heart. To me, it's not acceptable that the state of Washington is not #1 in veteran services. As a Navy veteran, as a heavily, as a heavy military town or area or region, then I know that it's our duty to provide veteran initiatives and true opportunities for our veterans here, so we can provide retention. If we have retention and our veterans don't have to seek, for example, going back to California or Texas, well, they're going to be investing in our community, right? We have home loans and business loans that they could apply to our community, and so that's just issues like that that I'm very passionate about. I know that we could work together. As an independent, I could work together with on both sides on this issue.
Are there ideas right now that you've heard for veterans programs that you'd like to, that you would maybe say, hey, I'll link up with you and when we'll try to pursue this one?
Oh, that I've heard from other people?
Mm-hmm. Or you've seen an Olympia that maybe haven't made it, or something that you would bring. What are some of the specific issues you say this could target that community? And
okay.
help them?
Well, I have a personal vision of implementing through the help of local organizations and local government a boot camp style program when you come out in your transitioning phase. I'm someone who lived the hardships of transitioning from the service, and it was tough. I was almost evicted from my place because it was tough. I didn't have a job. So I've been there. I've been in those shoes. And so implementing a program that can truly provide you the tools necessary for success. And so what do I mean, like a boot camp program? So when we go into the service, well, it takes us 2 or 3 months of training to provide us that mental capacity for the military. When we are on our way out, there are some services that are like a week, maybe. And people really are mentally checked out, so you just want to leave, right? You just turn in your ID, they give you your paperwork, and you leave. So in this case, I know that we could work on programs that veterans could come into, especially here in the region, and work on education or vocational rehabilitation or anything like that, job training or job seeking opportunities, and so that's just a vision that I have as a veteran initiative here in the state of Washington.
You are you're studying education, is that correct?
Yes.
Seattle University. What's your opinion of what the last legislative session, what they kind of came to an agreement on changing how state taxes were going to be allocated between schools? It sort of looks like it's satisfied what the Supreme Court was asking them to do and made some progress. What's your opinion of what came out of the legislature and the job that they've done?
So my personal opinion, I believe that that we could find another approach where it is an equitable, sustainable funding across the board, because in this case you fall into, for example, a lot of money. Areas like Lake Washington School District, for example, who have a lot of money, well, they get more money. So the richer areas are getting more money, and underrepresented or underprivileged areas are getting less money. So I think that we could find a solution. Maybe I was thinking about the cannabis tax that we have in place. I'm not talking about increasing the taxation, but I'm just talking about looking into that funding and maybe hopefully from that revenue just directly distributing towards education, towards funding education in the state of Washington. So it could be equal across the board.
Do you think the change that they made in how property taxes are collected and then allocated back out, this was, I mean, part of the initiative was kind of trying to make things a little more equitable, so Lake Washington didn't give too much into that. Is that effective at kind of addressing what you're worried about?
Well, I don't think it's effective. I think it's a good initiative, I guess, a good approach that they tried, but that's the problem of having issues being politicized, for example, and people are more focused on just doing what it feels good for them or their party than actually sitting down and finding a sensible solution that is equitable, just for everyone in the community. And in this case, I think it's a good approach, but I know we can do more.
How would you try to get more money towards the districts that need them the most? I mean, your idea of pot tax was asking for more money. Yeah. Is there a way of allocating things differently?
It's the way of allocating the money. It's not raising taxes on the industry. No, it's just the way it's allocated. That's what I meant. And like I said, just make it fair across the board. And putting a system in place where through data, through research, you're actually funding underrepresented areas that truly need the money. I don't think it's effective. The plans in place right now are effective, and we can do a lot more.
it sounds like you are opposed to tax increases?
Tax increases.
Is that a
from,
broad belief or just on this education topic?
No, in general. In general, yeah. I think we in the state of Washington pay a lot of taxes. And the problem is not paying taxes. The problem is when it's an endless taxation, like it is currently. It's just taxation without an end. And so, yeah, you could say I'm opposed to just a general increase of taxation.
Alan has been asking a question to the candidates. You want to go ahead and, it's on this topic.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'm listening to what you say, and there's just so many good ideas that come up from government, but they have to be funded. And so ultimately, you have to figure out what your revenue stream's coming from. I wonder how you feel about an income tax. Doesn't sound like you want any additional taxes, but what I might suggest is an income tax would be brought into a different structure of tax throughout the state, so that you have perhaps a more equitable kind of funding for a state that has a huge economy, but has kind of a bad tax system, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'll be open to solutions or approaches like that. Yeah, definitely.
Well, I don't think, I'm looking for the guy that's going to stand up and do it, quite honestly.
Yeah, of course.
And you're going to be too junior probably, but it's something that you certainly could work towards and bring up, because I think the state really should be looking at moving into the 21st century in a way that can fund it effectively.
And we should. And to answer your question about being too junior, yeah, of course. But I'm a combat veteran, and I was undocumented when I grew up, and I was told no, and I was told you're not white enough, or your accent is kind of weird, or and I'm getting my doctorate degree right now, so I know there's ways. So when I hear someone say, no, you can't do it, well, you know what, I'm going to show you that we can do it. And we're going to do it together, and we do it through building relationships. And like I said, as an independent who is not caucusing with anyone, that my vote is going to count. My vote is going to have, because every vote counts, and so my vote is going to have a lot of weight. And this is what I tell the people in the community. That's why I am your best choice in that sense. And if you want to vote for Republicans and Democrats, well, there's 2 other seats you could do that. But for position 2, if you want some balance, then put me in there, and I'll represent you.
You've talked about your personal background a few times now. Tell me a little bit more about what that experience, you said Navy experience brought you to those veterans issues that you want to do. What about the experience of growing up as someone who came here from Mexico and what you faced? What does that translate to in terms of maybe legislation or policy or programs? Like, what do you see that maybe your colleagues wouldn't want to pursue? What ideas are there?
First things first. I mean, everything that's going on right now, I guess we all can agree right now that it's just inhumane, the separation of families. Although I know that Trump just signed, the executive order, but that type of mentality is wrong. So what I want my Hispanic community and the immigrant community here, any origin, is I want to share my message. I want to share my story. I want to share my story of opportunity and perseverance. And so when I get to Olympia, I could certainly tell you right now, and I could tell that immigrant community that I've been in your shoes. I've been there. I know what we have to look for. I know what we have to, what is it that we're fighting for, how to address it. And so I think it's just another issue that's been politicized from both parties.
Right. I guess I'm trying to.
And so in this case,
not politicize.
So in this case, at this very moment, I have a family member who's a DACA recipient, for example. In the state of Washington, we believe that just individual rights are human rights, equal rights are human rights, and immigrant rights are human rights. So with that same saying or spirit, then I know that in the state of Washington we could do a lot more to protect them, to treat them as just another regular Washingtonian, to provide equitable opportunities for success as well at the state level. And so those are initiatives that I want to do here. Maybe also tackling the H-2A visa program, which I've heard stories from people that come here to work with agriculture down in Yakima Valley or others, and that's borderline human trafficking, the way the program is implemented right now. So that's something that I don't stand for, and so that needs a reform, or it needs to be eliminated. And so those are the I don't know, just the vision that I have for immigration, for example.
What about the 26th district? What are the priorities? What do you hear as the priorities in the 26th district right now?
Well, it's very mixed because we're two counties. We're very mixed because that uniqueness that I was talking about earlier, where we're blue collar, we're young professionals, veterans, and also retirees. Well, for example, people in Gig Harbor don't want to see development that fast. They like to, they want to keep their steady growth. But people here in Bremerton are receiving a lot of young professionals that are hungry for growth and development, and we see the opportunities that we have here in the region. So there's a lot of issues. I mean, you could talk about the rising housing prices as well, and the cost of living here, and the lack of jobs, the emptiness of Port Orchard, the rotting buildings in Port Orchard, the rotting schools in Port Orchard, the homelessness issue that we have right now that we sadly is something that we bring, that we import from other cities, but that we do have to address. The indigent veteran community issues as well. I'm part of the Kitsap Veterans Advisory Board, and we look at all these numbers that are increasing, and it's just unacceptable. So job opportunities, obviously at the state level, just the funding of education, homelessness, the approach to mental health, which is different than just the homelessness issue, right? And I mean, at the state level, me personally, I believe that because my true fundamentals is that government should only be a safety net and provide security for you as a citizen. So even in the healthcare issue, I mean, I think it should be a healthcare plan that provides a safety net for the underprivileged and the ones that truly need it at the state of Washington. But those are some issues that I have a passion for, also in protecting your individual rights and equal rights as a citizen, of course.
One of those issues is drug addiction.
Yeah.
Plays into homelessness, plays into mental health, and it feels like we're evolving into a way that's support services are connecting these things, but opioid abuse is the one here and across the country. People are saying this is a crisis.
Yeah, it is.
How much of that is the state's responsibility, and what do you specifically think the state should be getting involved in to address that?
Okay. Well, that is an issue that I've been learning a lot more recently. I'm not an expert on that. I'm still learning. I do have a passion to, like I said, just find sensible solutions together. But I think it's a state responsibility in a way of, well, if we look at the root cause, for example, why individuals go that route. You first become homeless, and well, not every case, but most of the cases you first become homeless, and then within your homeless community, you're just walking around everywhere. You start going into drugs, and then you become an addict, and then you become you have mental health problems and whatnot. So a lot of the root cause is the lack of job opportunities here, the lack of opportunities in education and vocational training, and so those are issues that I want to address as well. How do I find a reactive solution? Well, I don't know. Just that's something that I'm still learning, honestly.
You've mentioned job opportunities and training a few times. What's your opinion of Olympic College? How well are they doing?
How well are they doing?
Yeah.
I think they should be. Yeah. I think I don't know why it's not a four-year college, and it should be. I think they are at the forefront of education here in the region. They're doing an amazing job. But I think they need that final push so they could become a university and could have a legit university here in the peninsula, I guess.
Anyone have a question?
Yeah, I have
Go ahead.
couple of questions. First of all, thanks for your service, and I think your story is great, and I'm glad you're jumping into the race. I think that diversity in thinking is a good thing, not just your background, but the whole big picture. I'm still listening, though, carefully to, I hear this broad array of issues that you're discussing. The one that stands out that you mentioned that you showed the most passion for is veterans. Okay, that absolutely makes sense. We take care of our veterans. That's pretty non-controversial, really. So what else is, I'm just trying to figure out, and I have two questions. This is the first one, in terms of what when you decide to jump in this and get in the race, what's really what's the passion that's driving you? We talked about civility, and civility is another broad term, and also being independent. That's fine, and that. But really, what made you decide? Was there some specific issue that you said, I'm going to run for office? That's my first question. Maybe you can answer that, then I'll ask the second one, which is a little more specific.
Okay. No, it truly is. We've all been tired as a community for years and years of, just politics as usual. Mm-hmm. Every election year is just one party trying to beat another, and they forget about what the community really wants. Mm-hmm. I went to one of the county, I think it was a Democratic county, one of their general meetings, just to go see, and someone in the room asked, here was the question, it's like, so do we know what the community wants? And I was like, what? You're a party. You should know already. And so why does it happen? Because it's politics as usual. So yeah, and then I like to find commonalities with people, not differences. And politics right now, politicians just try to find differences. Oh, you're a D, you're an R, oh, we can't be seen together, or we can't vote together, or, so that's why I know I'm a different, fresh approach, because I like finding commonalities, especially if we all truly want the same for the peninsula, which is to move forward and provide certain opportunities, right, and things like that. So yeah, and that's why I truly did it, because especially for everything that's been going on with, like I said, with immigration, with the Hispanic community, with persons and people of color. We need a voice.
So thank you very much. My second question is a little more specific, and I'll ask the same one I asked yesterday. In terms of, I noticed you're getting a doctorate in educational leadership. And,
I just started.
That's a good thing. I work in the educational administration program for Western. Okay, so that's good. So let's get more specific. We just had the fourth anniversary. They actually just graduated. The kids from Marysville just graduated high school that were involved in the shooting. Okay. And of course, they have Parkland and on and on and on, right?
And Texas.
And that. So, so what's your position on school safety or school violence, and what would your solution look like?
Yeah. Well, it also falls under the question of education and the funding that you were saying earlier. To me, it's unacceptable right now. Districts have to fight for that money so they could provide safety, vestibules and or additional police force. Well, not police force, the SROs.
How do you see them having to fight?
No, well, having to fight for grants and funding, right? They shouldn't be doing that. As a state, we should be able to provide that to all of our schools right now. We truly care about the safety and the future of our kids, right? So that's what I was saying about a sustainable funding effort in education. What would I do? Well, I would provide those opportunities, those fundings and grants for school districts, especially in our region, that truly need it.
So let's just say that the funding's not an issue.
Okay.
Okay, and every district makes a determination on how they want to fund, their safety, etc. I'm just wondering, so what would be your solution, or what recommendations would you make for school safety beyond the financial aspect of it?
For school safety, I think they're doing the right thing right now at the moment with those programs. For example, like Bremerton School District, right? So I don't know. I don't know what specific you're looking for. I think they're
What's your
doing
ideas?
they're doing good right now with what they truly need, but we need to support them. They need funding, and it can't be a pick and choose. And you can't have districts fighting for that money. It should be provided for everyone, if the safety and the future of our children is at stake. So.
All right, thank you.
Question. Education is always at the top of everybody's agenda. Funding, state funding for education, I think that's going to be ongoing forever because it's not determined. But on your bio that I read, it said that we should make public colleges and universities tuition-free and debt-free for students graduating from local high schools.
Okay.
How, what kind of funding would you propose, or how would you propose that be funded?
How do I propose that that be funded? Well, that's a very, very good question. Thank you for that. Honestly, I don't know at the moment, but I am willing to look, and that's what I'm learning, and I'm trying to find that solution. It's an approach, an idea that we should take care of our, of our children here in this case, and provide them opportunities. Right now, for example, with Seattle University, right? I know the issue of student debt. I mean, I'm living it at the moment, and there's too much special interest behind that, and it's basically putting shackles on our students graduating. And then what happens? You come out and then you don't have a job, or well, at least not a well-paying job for you to pay your student debt. But it's just tough, and then it's just a vicious cycle. So that I know. I know what we have in place is wrong. How do I fix it right now? I don't know. I don't have the answers to everything, but I'm willing to fight for that, and I'm willing to fight for those solutions, and I'm willing to learn, and willing to grow, right, and be flexible on a lot of things. And that's the beauty about being an independent. Then I don't have to fall into this box of, hey, you can't do that because then you're a progressive, or, So yeah, I mean, that would be my answer.
You've mentioned a few times, obviously it's still early in the process, and you said I don't know the answer yet, I'm working on that, I'm learning. How do you do that?
How do I do?
How are you educating yourself and learning about the issues? Are you knocking on doors? Are you meeting with groups? Or tell me a little bit about more what you're doing. Are you joining advisories? I don't know.
A lot of knocking on doors. I got bit by a dog, so I think the commitment is there. And talking to superintendents. I'm part of the Commission on Children and Youth as well here in Kitsap County. So I did that for a purpose of, for that continued growth. And I told them,
what was it?
The Kitsap County Commission on Children and Youth.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I told them a couple of months back, I wasn't even running yet, and because of the educational degree that I'm pursuing, I've always had an interest. I mean, my parents are educators, or were educators, so I know about the importance of education. And so I came to that group, and I was, visiting their monthly meetings just to keep growing. And I told them, I'm going to be running, but win or lose, this cause is my cause, and I'm going to be here. So that, and a lot of door knocking, a lot of talking to people, a lot of just questions and being challenged. Yes, I don't know the answers to a lot of things, but I'm not running to go in there and tell you, hey, I have the solution to everything, and this is what I think should be done. No, I want to listen to the constituents. I want to listen to the voters and what their concerns are, so then I can know what I need to go in there and find a solution for. And that's been my approach.
Give us we were getting close to what we promised anyway at the time.
Awesome.
One more thing, any topic we didn't touch on that you'd like to share with us? I always want to give you a last either closing statement or anything that we missed that you wanted to tell us what you think.
No, well, closing statement, and I'll just, thank you for the opportunity, truly. Not only my background, but the message of my campaign. The community needs to hear it. we need this, and we need this now. We need civility, we need unity as a community. I mean, we have brothers against brothers, you know, fighting in a dining table because you think different politically, because they feed you something and the other ones feed you another thing. That's wrong. I mean, what happened to our sense of community and family and our approach to just being American and coming together despite our differences and moving forward? I had the opportunity to be part of the Navy, which is one of the biggest, you know, multicultural organizations in the world. And there, we're not white or black or Mexican or Filipino. No, we're sailors. At the end of the day, we accomplish things together. And so that's my mentality, that's my approach to going to Olympia and finding commonalities, like I was saying, for, you know, for the best interest of the community. So I truly thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.